Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more of the Long Journey Home. And since the last time I did a recording this game, there has been a pretty major update. And this update corresponds with a shift in the stance of the developer brought on by criticisms of the game since its launch. And I think those criticisms were pretty valid, and obviously the developers saw it that way too, and they have made some changes. These changes are mostly around balance changes and a couple quality of life things that really, honestly, were no-brainer things, and make me think that this game probably did not have proper beta testing before it was launched, because these were things that I almost immediately noticed as problems with the game and have since been changed and should have been changed before the game was launched, if I were to be totally honest. So the main thing that has been changed, and I'm going to be starting a new mission for a couple different reasons. First off, I want to showcase what is different, but secondly, I want to point out, or at least admit, that that last run that I was doing was going in a bad direction, and it was a direction I don't think I could recover, so I'm just going to go ahead and start up a new mission. So one of the big criticisms of this game is the fact that it, at least initially as intended, was far too difficult. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. From what communication I got from the developers when I started playing this game, they intended, and I'm going to be using the same crew, I believe, as the last run I did, although I may make a little bit of a shift. So I have the test pilot, the astronaut. I was using the archaeologist. I think I'm going to take the botanist along rather than the theoretical physicist that we had last time. I am a little bit concerned, though, with this. If we have sciencey things, you know what? Screw it. We're going to take the exact same crew we had last time. I'm also going to take the same ship. And the same lander. Our seed is going to be Prometheus, apparently. All right, so what are the changes? Well, the first change that we have is difficulty mode. So Explorer mode has been changed and named to Adventure mode. This is now what the developers were saying is the intended difficulty, but that was not the stance that the developers had before. They said that the intended difficulty was Rogue, and every communication that I got from that developer. So they intended this game to be super difficult and, you know, very high chance of failure. In my opinion, even on Adventure mode, previously Explorer mode, the chance of failure was rather high. The two playthroughs I did as part of my YouTube series both ended in failure within about an hour and a half of play, I would say. An hour and a half to 2 hours of play. I also did a couple streams of this game, and the same thing was the case. I got to a point where I was more or less in an unrecoverable state within 2 or 3 hours of play. Now, I will admit, in the streams, I was doing a lot of experimental stuff. I was purposely doing some stupid things just to see what would happen. But even still, the chance that your mission can go really badly in adventure mode very early on is extremely high due to the procedurally generated nature of the game and its unforgiving nature. And the last playthrough I had, I felt like I was in a no-win situation because I was running out of exotic materials, which is how you jump from system to system. And with this ship, you don't have a particularly long jump range, which is its only real downside in my mind. And when I was coming into systems that I could potentially get resources from, they were infested with Mizrahi, which mean if I go down on the planet, my crew has the chance of getting infested. This is a thing that you cannot easily remove and will eventually kill your crew. I know this from my experience in streams. So even when I could find planets that I could potentially land on, the fact that the Mizrahi were widespread in those systems made those planets unusable, more or less. So I would either encounter planets that were entirely impossible for me to land on because the difficulty of going down was so high and the damage that I would do, or more likely losing my lander, was very likely. Or I would encounter planets that, again, were infested by Mizrahi. So it was becoming a situation that I could not get out of very quickly. With that being said, they do have a new difficulty, and this is going along with a lot of the criticism that they've gotten, that this game is far too hard, and for a new player like me that's still learning the game, it's very unforgiving. So what they've done is they've given us a new mode called Story Mode. Now, what they have done with this is they've slowed down ship degradation, which I will admit in Adventure Mode, and even worse in Rogue Mode, is ridiculous. You have parts break down constantly, and you can't really repair them. You very rarely get items that will be able to repair them. The breakdowns happen more frequently than the items that you will get that can repair them, and to pay to repair those parts is expensive, and the ability to get currency to pay for that is extremely hard. So that is one criticism right there, that the degradation happens far too frequently in those other difficulties. We also have higher resources across the galaxy. Again, a big problem there. The fact that you're going to find a planet that you can land on safely, and then you do, and then there's barely any resources there, is extremely frustrating. We can rewind time if you die. That was something that I think was in the game already, so that's not really anything new. I think that might be in Adventure Mode as well. And the lander missions are more forgiving. The alien population is going to be a little bit more willing to trade with you so that you can actually get those currencies to repair damage if it comes down to that, and so on. So I am for sure going to play this difficulty. Now, I could understand that some of you might be unhappy with the fact that I am playing it on the easiest difficulty, but for me, I'm playing this to have fun. I'm playing this to go through and experience what there is in the game. I'm not playing this to play for an hour and a half and then end up in defeat, barely doing anything in the game. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into things. There are a couple quality of life things that have also been added into the game. I'm just going to go ahead and skip this cutscene. We've already seen it a couple times now, and I will demonstrate what those things are as we get in. And they're both no-brainer things that should have been in the game on launch, and I have no idea why it did not occur to the to the developers or any of the beta testing that may have happened, why no one raised any concerns over this, because it was something that I noticed within, like, perhaps the first 10 minutes of playing. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our inventory here. So what is the one thing that has been changed? Well, before, you could go to a ship system, hit the destroy button, and it would instantly destroy the item without any confirmation. This I found out in one of my streams because I was just playing around with something. I wasn't really paying close attention to what the A button said there because it was a system that was damaged, and I was like, oh, maybe that A button says I can repair it. And I just hit the A button without really looking carefully, and I destroyed that item and it was gone. No confirmation. That has changed. That is something that is such a no-brainer, and the fact that they had no confirmation at all for destroying an item that is irreplaceable was just boneheaded. The other thing that has changed is in the encounter screen. So when you're actually in combat, there is now targeting information for where your laser is going to land, rather than have the guesswork that was the way that the game worked before. So that is something that definitely is a welcome addition and should have been in the game from the beginning. All right. Let's go ahead and land here. Another thing that they've added in is more forgiving orbits. So the orbit bar, the area that you have to be in to lock in your orbit, is much wider in this difficulty. Okay, so we've got harmless and we've got some hydrogen gas. We more than likely start with some resources. Looks like hydrogen gas and copper. So we'll go ahead and do a mission here. I should probably choose my lander crew. We'll choose Malcolm. We have a concussion on our archaeologist. All right, here we go. Let's land. There's also an interface change with the lander, I've noticed. I'm not exactly sure how to read it, to be honest with you, but it appears to give you an idea of the direction of your travel. So that arrow there, I think, gives you an idea of which way you're moving. And then you also have this bar that shows up every so often. I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to mean, but maybe we'll figure it out as we go. Okay, we're going to get as much hydrogen as we can. All right, we're getting into the danger zone, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave. No reason to stick around. There's no other resources on that planet, and there's nowhere to land. So, there we go. Successful mission. And that's pretty good. Now, this is the first system, though. And we'll just have to see, you know, how easy is the easiest difficulty? Is it still very hard? Because, in my opinion, if the easiest difficulty still has a great deal of challenge, this is, I think, the right mode to play. If you want more challenge, then you've got the harder difficulties. But if there's no challenge to this mode, then I'll agree. Maybe this is a little bit too easy mode. But we'll see. So it looks like I don't really need any of the fuel I just got, so this is mostly just going to be in storage for now. Okay, so there is another planet and a system of asteroids, both of which we'll want to encounter. So I'm going to go ahead and leave orbit now, and we'll push out. I don't know if we're going to have to adjust our trajectory too much because the star should start pulling us in on its own. That's one thing that I really have to get used to, is just the navigation in this game. And if it does sound like I'm criticizing the game a lot, I am, truly I am, but it's because I want this game to be good, because it has such great potential, it has such great ideas behind it, but I just don't think that the state that it launched in was the right state for it to launch in. And I really do like the moves that the developers have made. These were the proper moves to make, give people the opportunity to play this game without such a frustrating experience that they want to, because this can be a game that's a cool chill-out game, where you know, you can explore the galaxy and, you know, have fun. We gotta burn quite a bit here to wrap ourselves around. But again, very forgiving orbits here. Okay, so we do have life forms down there. And as a result, I may want to go down with our archaeologist. So I am going to switch our lander mission to the archaeologist. I really don't know if you get much of a benefit having your test pilot go. I just did that for, you know, really role-playing purposes, but I really don't know if you get much of a benefit. And that could be another criticism in and of itself. Make the skills of your crew members matter more than they seemingly do. So far, some of the things that I have seen people say, and whether you agree with this or not, is that they feel like the alien races are really the only thing that gives you story or depth. There's a lot of criticism of the depth of the crew that you have, and I don't know if I have enough time in the game to make that assertion, but I kind of see what they're saying. So that could be a valid criticism, and maybe that's something that they'll build on in the future. I will point out one thing I'm not a big fan of is the foreground kind of obscuring the view at times. All right, let's go ahead and investigate this location. This ancient forest has been dead for a long time. The wood is so rotten, I can push my hand through any of these trees. It comes back covered with what looks like tar. Not a single bug or leaf or shoot to be seen. We are going to explore. We discovered an interesting looking plant. Scanner gives it the scientific name Quinzelica paparae. Bringing up a sample. All right, we'll take it. It looks like a hand. Got it. Heading back to the lander. Because that's probably another item that we could eat or whatever if we want to. All right, so this is helium, which is going to be a different gas than the hydrogen that we had before. I definitely want those metals if I can get them. We'll take the helium as well. We're only going to be able to get 3 of whatever this metal is at most, at least in this run. Looks like magnesium. At least if I... Ah! Already messing up with my lander missions. That's alright. We'll get the hang of it. It's been a little while since I've played, so I'll use that as my excuse. Okay, it looks like magnesium being a little bit rarer. We're already kind of in the danger zone. I at least want one here, though. But unfortunately, we had to pay for it a little bit to get that one. Alright, we're going to go ahead and lift off. We've gotten what resources I think we're going to get out of this run. I may even have to use that magnesium to repair the damage we just did to our craft. Alright, well that was pretty successful. No, we didn't take a botanist, and yet again we're paying for it. For a split second there, I wanted to take a botanist because of the way our previous playthrough went, where we were encountering a lot of plants. And it looks like, yet again, we're encountering a lot of plants, and unfortunately we don't have that botanist with us. Alright, we'll take a look at the lab here. Wonder what it tastes like. Okay, so same thing here. We have the option to eat it. I think we save it, though, until I feel like there's a purpose to do so. Okay. So, hydrogen, helium, they're both common. There's no reason to use the silicates at this point. Out of curiosity. Yeah, see, the copper will repair us just as well as the magnesium would, and this is an uncommon item. So, I think for now, we just don't do anything. And I'm going to go ahead and go towards the asteroid. We'll burn some fuel. And then we'll think about using our hydrogen here. Yeah, that was more than likely going to take me right into it, so quite a bit of speed. I may have to alter course. There we go. We're on target. So I've burned what hydrogen I'm going to want to burn. Let's go ahead and refuel. Now we've got a full cargo slot so that we can go ahead and mine here in the asteroids. Alright, so to show you what I'm talking about with the targeting, you'll see, boop, boop, boop. This should have been in the game from the very start. Because it's just so valuable and so needed in the game. And if I draw the comparison of Sid Meier's Pirates had firing arcs similar to this game where you're firing broadsides, but there was an element of auto-targeting. So they either needed to implement a system like that, or they needed to implement a system like they did that allowed us to know where it was we were firing, so that you could actually not have to guesstimate where it is, especially a moving fight. That's just, it's too ridiculous to require that of the players. But now I have a very good idea of where my shots are going to land. There might still be a little bit of adjusting you have to do for moving targets and things, but much easier to do. And this is not per difficulty. This is every difficulty in the game now has this. So extremely good addition. Quality of life improvement. We're going pretty deep into this asteroid field. Ooh. We're gonna get smashed here, possibly. Let's go this way real quick. Okay, we're gonna have to be a little bit quick here, so we don't end up running into anything. Okay. There we go. Okay. Get these resources. Yeah, borates, that's going to be very valuable to us. And we have one more rock we can blow up. Now, if it is a different... Ooh, I don't think we're going to be able to squeeze through there. The way that asteroid is moving. Let's try and skirt around here. Nice and careful. Okay, looks like we have an opening here. As those rocks are coming together, I think we might get squeezed if I go that way, so... Ah! A bit of damage there. Okay, I see it. I have to dance around here a little bit. We got some rocks converging, so... Ooh! A little bit of, billiards going on here. Ooh, this is very tight. Might be able to get the shots in. Whether or not we'll be able to collect the resource, though. Okay, we'll just pilot in here real slow. I don't think these are moving too fast, so I don't think we're gonna get squeezed here. Okay, carbonates. Squeeze through. Ooh, took a little bit of a bump. Alright, we're out. Think we'll be able to get out of here. Alright. That went quite well. So we'll have to take a look at our plunder and where it ended up in our ship or our lander and decide on what we want to do with it. More than likely, what we just got will be used to leave the system and then recharge our EM tank. Right now, we don't have that much that we really need to repair outside of our lander, but I don't really see a point in wasting magnesium on that, and burning the copper doesn't do as much good as far as our storage capacity goes. Borates are rare, so that's going to be good for us. And then, more than likely, we'll be going through the carbonates to refuel our EM tank. A lot depends on how this goes. But as you can see, resources are a lot more abundant than they were in previous difficulties. And this is the easiest system. This is your starting system. This is where you're going to get a lot of resources. Later systems are going to be a little bit harder. But this also opens up the possibility to trade, whereas in the rest of the game, I felt like what resources you got, you had to hold on to for your own survival, and it was really difficult to decide on whether you wanted to trade something or not. All right, well, in any case, let's go ahead and jump out of here. There's nothing really left in this system for us. And we also have to keep in mind that I start with resources too, so... Okay. We can really only jump to one location because everywhere else is too far away, so we're going to be going ahead and jumping into this system, which is a yellow dwarf star, and then we have a little ice planet. Depends on... We're going to be fairly certain that the silicates and the iron are going to be on that planet. And this is, even at this difficulty, this is where you start to run into problems. Notice how there's no blue resource anywhere near us in these systems. So this is the luck of the draw element of the game. Now, even when we get in here, the helium and hydrogen, how do I know that's not in the gas giant that we can't land on? So this is the kind of challenge of this game. And if I'm on a harder difficulty where resources are less abundant, harder to get, and, you know, we have a lot more hazards, you know, having to jump through two systems to even have a chance at getting the ability to get more gas to refuel our engines, kind of daunting. Okay, we do have a friendly presence here behind us. I still think the right stick should do something if you're gonna, say, use a controller. And I would like it to be able to look around a little bit around yourself, because sometimes it can be really hard to see. Like, I couldn't see behind myself pretty much at all, so I really didn't know what was coming there. Okay. We have Kudhast Herald, and he's a Kudhast. Greetings unto you. We are heralds of the Kudhast. of the symmetry of the Second Testament. We come to your galaxy on a mission of peaceful philosophical inquiry to promote that which is truth and deny that which is in the non... Brother! Not now, brother. Can you not see I am talking to the alien? But it's my turn to do the introductions. This again? Listen, do you want a repeat of what happened with the Carafalaxi? Carafalaxi were 200 cycles ago, and it was only a small war. A small war that killed our reputation in that quadrant. Oh, hello. We come in peace in search of truth, and well, yes, we are the energy beings that wiped out the entire Carafalaxi civilization because my idiot paramate couldn't distinguish his encounter suit's speech processor from his waste removal sphincter. Yes, that was a fantastic start to our mission, wasn't it? I said I was sorry. And that is why I, Elder Herald of the Symbiotry of the Labyrinth, shall do the smecking introductions, and you, brother, shall wait your turn as agreed. And now, I've completely lost my place. Honestly, every time, what must the aliens be thinking? I don't know, brother. They don't look very bright. Fantastic. Carafloxus Prime all over again. Wait. What, brother? The aliens are still here. Maybe they could help with our problem. Very well. Aliens, we have been following the signal of one of our brethren ships. It disappeared on a planet whose gravity makes it impossible for our ships to land. You, however, would seem equipped. Will you investigate our fellow heralds and return any relics that may have been transporting? Well, I'm going to say yes, but as we've seen in the past with this game, that doesn't necessarily mean that we actually can do this mission. This is something that I've discussed in the past, and we'll see how achievable this mission is. Blessed servants of the truth, we will transmit the coordinates now and await your findings. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and leave this encounter. They are in a different star system, so not something we're going to be encountering in this system. All right, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in the video here. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.